In the scorching summer of 1858, Chicago was suffocating under a wave of relentless heat. Horses collapsed in the dusty streets, the river turned green with algae, and the stench hanging over the city forced residents to cover their faces with wet cloths. To escape the unbearable temperature, thousands turned to a cheap, refreshing treat sold on nearly every street corner: ice cream. Children ate it directly off the pavement, and adults carried metal tins of it home. But within weeks, relief turned into catastrophe. High fevers, delirium, and internal bleeding began sweeping through the population as hundreds fell ill with typhoid fever. By the end of the season, over 1,500 people were dead. City officials tracing the source of the outbreak discovered something horrifying. The tragedy wasn't caused by spoiled milk, but the ice itself. It had been harvested directly from sewage-polluted city lakes, packed in sawdust, and churned straight into the desserts people bought to survive the heat. Long before it caused a panic on the streets of 19th century America, ice cream had already existed for thousands of years. But its journey didn't begin as a sweet treat for everyday citizens. For centuries, frozen desserts were a rare, heavily guarded privilege reserved exclusively for royalty. The real story begins in China during the 7th century under the reign of Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty. Court records revealed that the palace maintained vast underground ice houses stocked with snow harvested from distant mountains during winter. Imperial chefs blended this mountain ice with buffalo milk, flour, and camphor, an aromatic compound that imparted a distinctly cool, tingling sensation. Only the emperor and his inner circle were permitted to taste this delicacy, and the chefs entrusted with its recipe faced severe punishment if they ever revealed its secret. From its very inception, cold sweetness was a statement of ultimate wealth and status. Across the Silk Road, a different cold tradition was unfolding in the Arab world. By the 9th and 10th centuries, marketplace vendors sold sherbet, a refreshing beverage crafted from crushed mountain snow, fruit juices, and sugar. As trade routes expanded, this tradition made its way into Europe through Sicily, giving birth to granita, an icy blend of fruit and snow that remains popular today. A persistent legend claims that in 1433, Catherine de' Medici brought ice cream from Florence to Paris when she married the future King Henry II of France. However, historical records reveal no trace of this story until centuries later. In reality, frozen treats spread gradually through European trade. By 1686, a Sicilian named Francesco Procopio de Coltelli opened Café Procope in Paris, serving frozen fruit and milk mixtures in delicate glass dishes to intellectuals like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Benjamin Franklin. Eating frozen desserts had officially entered European high society. Despite its growing popularity, ice cream remained bound by one fundamental constraint. Ice was only available in the winter, yet people craved it most in the summer. Making ice cream during hot months required maintaining expensive ice houses, keeping the dessert locked behind elite wealth. That changed in the early 19th century thanks to a bold Boston entrepreneur named Frederick Tudor. Tudor conceived an audacious idea that contemporaries ridiculed: harvesting ice from frozen New England ponds during winter, insulating it with sawdust, and shipping it across oceans to warm climates. Critics mocked him, newspapers laughed, and his first shipment to the Caribbean melted into financial ruin, landing him in debtor's prison. Undeterred, Tudor perfected storage methods and persuaded tropical merchants to build ice houses. By the 1830s, the Ice King was shipping New England ice to India, South America, and Australia, turning natural ice into a mass-market commodity and laying the foundation for modern urban ice cream sales. While Tudor was globalizing the ice trade, an American inventor named Nancy Johnson revolutionized how ice cream was actually made. In 1843, Johnson patented a hand-cranked ice cream freezer featuring a rotating inner paddle set inside a metal container surrounded by ice and salt. The addition of salt lowered the freezing temperature of the ice, while the continuous churning prevented large ice crystals from forming, producing a silky smooth texture in 20 minutes instead of several exhausting hours. Although Johnson sold her patent for a modest $200, her mechanism democratized production. Families could now make smooth ice cream at home, and commercial vendors could churn out large quantities quickly, transforming a royal luxury into an accessible public pleasure. By the late 19th century, ice cream was deeply woven into American culture through city soda fountains. When local blue laws restricted the sale of carbonated soda drinks on Sundays, clever shop owners adapted by serving scoops of ice cream topped with sweet syrup without the soda water. This Sunday accommodation eventually evolved into the beloved ice cream sundae. Shortly after, at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, another iconic innovation took shape. When a popular ice cream vendor ran out of paper cups during a scorching afternoon rush, a Syrian pastry vendor named Ernest Hamwi, rolling thin, crisp waffles nearby, stepped in to help. He rolled his hot waffles into conical shapes, allowing the ice cream vendor to scoop the cold dessert straight inside. The waffle cone became an overnight global sensation. Technological evolution didn't stop at the cone. In the late 1940s, a team of British food chemists, which famously included a young Margaret Thatcher, discovered that pumping additional air into the mixture during churning created a softer, lighter texture that stayed stable at higher temperatures. This breakthrough gave birth to modern soft-serve ice cream. Meanwhile, in the Soviet Union, Food Commissar Anastas Mikoyan adapted the American industrial machinery to create a nationalized ice cream industry. Governed by strict state standards and made with pure dairy fat, Soviet plombier became a legendary staple eaten year-round, even in freezing winter months. Today, the global ice cream market exceeds $200 billion annually, spanning everything from Italian gelato to Japanese mochi to plant-based oat milk recipes and liquid nitrogen flash freezing. What began as an imperial privilege guarded by palace guards evolved through mountain ice harvesters, visionary entrepreneurs, inventive scientists, and street vendors into a universal comfort enjoyed across every continent. It stands as a testament to human ingenuity, turning the simple urge to cool down on a hot day into one of the most cherished culinary journeys in history.